What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can probably tell from the title, today we're going to be installing a set of Catless eBay headers on my E46. And I know exactly what you guys are thinking, why'd I go ahead and buy a set of Catless eBay headers? They're probably built like crap. But from what I've seen personally, I have two different friends who both have Catless eBay headers on their E46s, and they've both had them for over 2 years now, and they've lasted a good amount of time. They've had no issues with them whatsoever. And from what I've seen online, a lot of people install them on the E46s as well, and they don't really have any issues. The only thing I'd say to look out for is to not to use the set of gaskets that came with the kit itself. I'd say just go get a better quality set, most likely from a BMW dealership or anywhere online, because everyone knows you can't really trust eBay gaskets. At the end of the day, they are built really cheap. And honestly, for a header gasket like that, it's extremely labor intensive to replace. So you might as well just want to get it done properly the first time. And other than that, the only issue I had installing mine was a slight fitment issue where the O2 sensors were actually on the headers in a wrong position where I kept hitting the firewall of the car. I'll show you guys some pictures right here to see what I mean. So the guy installing the headers actually ended up just cutting the O2 sensor position. He blocked it off so it wouldn't leak, and then he just repositioned it somewhere else in the exhaust so it actually fit properly. And on top of that, I also gave the guy a set of O2 sensor spacers, which are also known as O2 defowlers. And basically what those do, it just adds about 1 inch or 2 of gap between where the O2 sensor normally sits and where it sits now after the spacer is installed. And what that does, it tricks your car's ECU into thinking that there's actually cats in the car, so it doesn't set off the check engine light. And those are fairly cheap to pick up. I got them for around 30 bucks on Amazon. And I know there's a handful of you guys asking what my exact exhaust setup is on this car, so I'm gonna go outside and show you guys right now. So sadly, I don't have a lift with me to show you guys the exact exhaust setup from underneath, but I'm gonna try my best to explain to you guys exactly what's on the car. So if you guys know, E46s from the factory, they come with 2.5 inch pipes from the headers all the way back to the car, the whole way. So basically, say the headers start there, and I go back, the cats are still in the car. These E46s, they have 2 resonators, one in the back and one in the front. The main resonator is around right there, and there's a smaller resonator that sits behind the wheel right there. So I still have my main resonator in the car. The only resonator I deleted was in the back right here, and they were replaced with 2.5 inch pipes, the stock OEM piping. On top of that, I also have the muffler deleted, which would normally sit right there, and that's also replaced with 2.5 inch piping, which is OEM. And after the muffler delete, I just have these 3.5 inch tips, or they could be 3 inch, I'm not too sure. They're just slip-on tips that I put on, and then I also had to cut into the bumper a little bit to make it fit because these were way too big and they wouldn't fit with the OEM sizing. So as of before the Catless header install, that's my exhaust setup. Here's a quick sound clip. So these are going to be the headers I'm installing. The Catless stainless steel headers. And then on top of that, the kit also came with these gaskets that I don't really trust. So I went ahead and brought the OEM gaskets just because replacing gaskets if they're leaking is just super labor intensive, so I might as well just get the good ones and just not worry about it. And then on top of that, I also got these O2 sensor spacers. They're also called defowlers, but basically what they do is that they trick the O2 sensors into thinking that the cat's still in it. So hopefully this will mitigate the check engine light. But yeah, that's everything. Now we shall see how it is installed. Alright guys, so I just picked up the car. The headers are in. I just drove it to the closest parking lot I could find basically. And then I want to show you guys how it sounds. But before that, this is how the engine bay looks like right now. If you guys didn't know, I also have a Canyon intake, but other than that, the car is stock. And the headers are literally right there. I don't know if you can see them. Those are also the new gaskets. I got the OEM ones from the dealership. But yeah, let's see how this puppy sounds. So one of the first things I've also realized is that at idle, the car just has a lot deeper of a tone. It's extremely deeper. It kind of sounds like a V8 in a weird way. So this is basically just gonna be the first drive. The first lengthy drive at least, and then let's just see how this sounds. I'm really curious. So I'm gonna drive in manual for a bit and then I'll go to like normal. Let's see how it sounds. So just when you're going at slow speeds, it does sound a lot deeper. You notice the tone starts to switch up a little bit. That's actually really loud. Actually too loud. Okay, let's just have it in normal mode, just normal drive mode, and see how loud it gets. I'm just gonna merging onto a street right now. I'm gonna give it around like 30% gas. RPM. The car's pretty normal. It's not extremely loud. It's still loud, but it's not like crazy loud. And it's still really doable, especially for daily driving. Initial impressions, I feel like especially on the highway, and you're like passing 3,000, the car definitely has a lot more pulling power. I feel like the car's just freed up a lot of that back pressure, so it definitely picks up much better on the highway now. Down low, I feel like it feels basically the same. I'd say when you start getting to higher RPMs, the car definitely pulls a bit better. It's noticeably better. So after watching those clips, what do you guys think of the exhaust? Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's too loud? Or do you think it's just a headache? Me personally, I do feel like it's actually extremely loud. Like it's way louder than I expected it to be. So I'm most likely gonna go back like next week or something and just put another resonator in. Like when you're driving normally, it's pretty fine. If you have it in drive normal, like when it's under 3.5, it's actually pretty good. But as soon as you pass that 3.5 mark, I don't know what it is. The car just gets extremely loud and raspy, and it's a bit too loud, and I feel like it's a bit too obnoxious. Like it's way too loud. But don't get me wrong, overall I'm actually really happy with the install. Like the tone under 3.5 completely switched up, and I feel like with another resonator, the tone's gonna be perfect. I'm gonna love it. In terms of power gains, down low in the RPM band, the car feels roughly the same. But as soon as you pass 3.5, you can definitely notice a slight difference in the acceleration. The car does tend to accelerate a bit better. It's nothing massive, but you definitely do feel it. As well as in terms of the smell, when you're at a stoplight and the windows are open, yeah, you do smell it. But if the windows are closed, you don't smell it at all. And even when the windows are down, the smell's not too strong. It's not too bad. And when you're driving as well and the windows are down, you don't smell it at all. So it's honestly not too bad. And me personally, I kind of like the smell of gas, so it's kind of a win-win for me. And other than that, the car just needs a tune and it's ready to shoot some flames. I hope you guys found the video helpful. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. I'll be more than happy to answer. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.